PLC Network here with another unboxing, this time coming from a company called GooDee, G-O-O-D-E-E, GooDee. And this is their flagship projector sitting right next to me right here. This is the YG620 LED projector. And I'll tell you some of the things this bad boy can do. It's a 1080p native resolution projector. It has 6,000 lux for its light output, which is pretty bright for a affordable projector option. It offers a 7,000:1 ratio for contrast and 55,000 lamp hours. Since, thankfully, since it's an LED lamp, so it's built in and everything. So it's looking pretty good so far. To make it even cooler, it is something that can offer you up to a 300-inch projected image. It can do anywhere between 43 inches and 300 inches, depending on its distance from the wall. Basically you have 5 feet to 18 feet, I believe it is, to determine exactly how big of an image you're going to get. And that's going to determine where your installation is going to be on the ceiling, or wherever else you're placing the projector. It has multiple connections going across the back, so there's tons of stuff that you can put into this thing so that you can project it onto the wall. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna open this up and actually take a look at what it looks like, see what it looks like, just get a feel for it, see what those connections are in the back, and then you'll get to see a little bit of demonstration of what it actually looks like projected onto a screen in a real life situation. So let's go ahead and pop the box open here. For your accessories here, you have a regular just HDMI cable here, so that way you don't have to provide an HDMI cable yourself. You have a regular D-plug or IEC cable to power the projector with. You have a remote here, which is pretty simple remote it looks like. You have your power button, you have your mute option, you have previous and next, as well as a play pause button right here in the middle. You have a regular directional pad with an enter, or at least in this case, OK button in the center. You have a back button, a menu button, and an exit button it looks like, and a volume up and volume down. So you're gonna get basic control of the menu system and some of the features, volume, because it does have a built-in speaker on as well. So if you're feeding with HDMI or an AV cable, you're gonna get that audio out of the projector. If you want anything else though, of course, projectors aren't always the best sound, so you're gonna wanna get a whole speaker system. But if you're mobile and you don't have the luxury of a speaker system, at least you got sound coming from the projector. They also give you the audio cable, so because the RCA connection isn't directly on the back, it's going to be a 3.5 millimeter here, a TRRS cable, which breaks out into your typical RCA connection for audio and video. And that's it. Anything else you want to use, you do have to provide yourself. It actually comes with its own carrying case, which is pretty killer here. So it keeps it protected while you're traveling around. So if you want to take and drag this around with you from inside the house to into the backyard or anything like that, you have it's actually a cool magnetic button here for the front little pocket here. This is going to be for things like your remote, your cables, or anything like that as you're dragging this thing around. And of course, weight also, which is important to bring up. Weight's not too bad. I'd say it's probably a good, probably 4 or 5 pounds. And it completely opens up, giving you full access to everything. They do give you this really nice air-pocketed bubble-like wrap that's surrounding the projector with. If I were you, I'd definitely keep a hold of this after opening everything up, because you'll want this as added protection in the backpack, just in case, because you can never be too safe. You get a little bit of a qualified certificate from China here, and a user guide that just walks you through the configuration of setting everything up, the menu system from directly from here, and or using the remote control. And then you have the projector, which actually looks pretty nice. You have your typical controls right here on the top of the projector. You have your back button, OK. You have forward, back, up, and down, so you can navigate all the menus and settings. It looks like they're all touch controlled, so there's no physical button to press down. You have your IR right here in the front, which is accepting the remote control while you're using it. Looks like they also have it on the back as well, thankfully, so you can hit it from front or back. On the front, you have a lens cap that, of course, just simply pops out and it reveals the lens in there. So this just protects it from dust and everything when it's not in use. The side of the projector has a little latch here you can pull out, so you can access the little filter here, which is just a little screen, so you can clean it out and make sure there's no dust that's gathering up and that's going to threaten the temperature of the projector itself. And you also have a latch on the back here as well, so you can get to the fan in there and just kind of blow it out or something, maybe take a little vacuum, let your vacuum and collect any dust that might be building up coming from the output of air coming from the back. You have feet on the bottom, and what this is for is, clearly, is to so the projector doesn't slide around on its surface if it's sitting on a surface. So if you have this on a bookshelf, shooting straight forward, or if you have on the surface and you're trying to shoot up or anything like that, you know, it's going to be nice and sturdy. And that's where this fifth foot comes into play here. A lot of projectors that are made to be able to shoot from a sitting position where it might be raised up a little bit to get to the screen. You know, so if you're using this for business purposes in a meeting room or anything else that's shooting like at a tripod screen or something like that, you're going to want to possibly give it some lift depending on what it's sitting on. And to be able to accomplish this, you hit this little button here and a little foot pops out. And you just hold the button, you know, as you're adjusting the foot to whatever height that you need to get that lift with so you can get it to hit the screen just right. And then you have a manual focus that's right here on the top next to the touch controls here. And that is where you're going to get your focus. And when you're doing that, it's just the lens that's moving in and out to be able to obtain that focus on the screen so everything's nice, crisp, and sharp. And on the back, you have all your connections here. You have your D-plug input here. You have a power button for turning it on and off. You have RGB connection here for, you know, some old school RGB computer if you still have those laying around. You have an HDMI input 1 and an HDMI input 2. So you have two different HDMI devices running to the projector at any given time. You have a 5-volt output USB, so that's going to be for powering up, you know, like say you put a Kindle Fire dongle stick or anything in here. You can power it up directly from the USB port in the back here. You have your USB input, so that's going to be for thumb drives for images, music, videos, and all that fun stuff. You have your AV input, which is going to be for this cable right here that breaks it out to the RCA. You have a headphone jack here, which is going to be for, you know, running a 3.5 millimeter line coming out of this thing to a pair of headphones, if you so choose, or maybe a stereo speaker system. And then you have a micro SD connection right here in the back for, of course, memory cards, which is going to give you the same purpose as you would with the USB input for thumb drives or external hard drives or anything like that. So you have tons of connectivity here. You have video game systems, you have DVD players, Blu-ray players, computers, laptops, tablets, smartphones, old school basic VGA computers, you have USB drives, you have any kind of media stick devices like Kindle Fire, Roku, you name it. This thing can take the input for it. So you have a lot of connectivity for this, and it has a lot of power for output, at least in the stats or specs. So now the only question is, well, it sounds really good. It really sounds really good, at least spec-wise. What does it look like? Let's go find out. Okay, so what we're looking at now is what the projector looks like. What we've done was we've actually blown it up past the screen because we wanted to give it a little extra more than what we were just, you know, getting with the screen, because the screen is only around like 150 inches. So it's a huge display right here on the wall here in our demo room. And so we expanded a little bit more, gave it around like 165 inches just for fun, just for kicks, maybe 170 inches there. And it looks really fantastic for, you know, where our lights are on right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and turn off the lights. And with the lights turned off, you're getting awesome color right here. It's really super bright and vivid. And this is just the menu system. And this is what you're introduced with. You have a multimedia screen, input source, screen, settings. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over some of the settings really quick just so you can get an idea. You have a projection screen where you can determine, are you normal front, normal back, are you inverted, and so forth. And front, back, you know, so upside down, not upside down. Is it back projected? Is it front projected? In this case, we're sitting upright. It's sitting on top of an actual lift and shooting at the screen with a front projection. You have image scaling here, which you can just adjust some of the scaling a little bit. You have your aspect ratio, which is right now set to auto. You have 4:3 and 16:9. You have your picture mode where you can, you know, go in there and change exactly. Do you want standard, soft, or a user setting where you can control the contrast, brightness, and all that fun stuff. But for now, we're going to do it standard because we want to see what does it just look in standard. You have your on-screen display, you have your software update if you want to connect it and see if there's any firmware updates. You have a factory reset to just take everything and say, oh my gosh, I just want to go back to the start on all my settings. And then you have auto sleep if you want to enable that for, you know, when it's not getting any signal after so much time. So right now we have a USB drive actually plugged into this. Again, anything can plug into this for the most part. You have all of these different input sources, but right now we're going to go with a USB drive with a movie. But we have some Overwatch cinema footage here that we kind of stole from YouTube. Sorry, guys. And we're going to take a look at this and see what it looks like playing off a USB drive in 1080p with, again, about 165 to maybe 170 inch screen display right here. Where I had said that the speakers usually aren't that really good. Speaker, you can see if I get close to it.
Conflict.
It actually sounds really good.
On the brink of anarchy.
But we're going to take that volume down because we want to be able to hear ourselves here. So as you can see here with 1080p content, this actually looks pretty good. It looks, the clarity and color and everything, the separation of everything, the accuracy of those colors aren't too bad. Again, this is an affordable projector. It only ranges around, somewhere around like $239. It's extremely affordable compared to some of the projectors out there. It's 16.9, it's 4.3, it's good for use at home, it's good for use at the office. If you want to use this for business purposes, again for meeting rooms or just maybe on display in a lobby or something like this, this would be perfect for that. So, I mean, at home, this is great for the kids' room. It's good for the living room. If you want to watch the Avengers, if you want to play video games on it, although we wouldn't recommend video games since you do get certain latency issues with projectors. So you're going to get that for online play. If you're playing, you know, like Call of Duty or anything like that, you're probably not going to want to go projection for video games. But, you know, if you're playing campaign or anything else, or it's just a kid's room again, and you're not really worried about, you know, your KD ratio or anything like that. It's just kids playing fun games, you know, maybe you can set it up for that. But the picture quality is pretty good. Again, this looks nice. It's easy to set up. We propped it up again on this little lift here to get the height that we needed. We really overshot the screen here because we really wanted to see what kind of a stretch we can get from this distance. We're about maybe 18 feet, 17 feet away from the screen, maybe even more than that. We're looking pretty good with this. And again, this is the GooDee projector. We'll have links in the description below, so you can go ahead and check it out for yourself, see if this is something for you. We'll also maybe have something about this later on the website. So make sure to keep track of us. Follow us online at POCnetwork.net. And of course, don't forget there's a subscription button below, so you can follow us right here on YouTube, as well as a comment section below so we can all talk about this. What do you think? Again, this is just standard setting. Nothing's been adjusted. We haven't really tweaked it. Now, of course, if we really want the best image quality out of this thing, we're going to adjust some of the settings just a little bit. But what do you think? You know, feel free to share below in the comments. Maybe you have one of these at home. Let us know what you think about the performance in your own home and how it's worked out for you so far. And as always, we thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time. If you want to stay on top of all the latest and greatest, or at least the gadgets we cover, remember to subscribe right here. Subscription button. Click it. You're going to want to. There's lots of videos, interviews, previews, all sorts of stuff. Button. Click it.